We're here tonight to talk about J-1, and if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, please.
Yes, my name is Alberto Achar, and I was the production designer of J-1, the short film.
Could you tell us, first of all, what J-1 is about?
Yes, J-1 is about a woman from Ocean City, a young adult from Ocean City, Maryland, who is basically sort of dreaming about just going somewhere outside her little town. And Ocean City is very particular because it has a lot of people, a lot of foreigners who just go to that city and work for 6 months. That's why the short is called J-1, because that's the type of visa that they get. And it's just filled with Europeans and Irish citizens, and they just go there for 6 months to work at the little hotels or the bars or the whatever. And so the film centers on Olivia, who's a native to Ocean City, and throughout the summer she meets Mac, who is from Ireland, and they fall in love, and the film starts on Mac's last night in Ocean City before he goes back to Ireland. And Olivia is supposed to go back with him because they're in love, and she wants to go somewhere else. But then everything sort of feels too real, and she starts having doubts. And we see sort of her community, her friends from Ocean City, but also her chemistry with Mac. So that's basically what it's about.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That was really great. So, you're a production designer.
Yeah.
When did you come on board with the script?
I came on board very late. It was still, I think it was 2 months before production. Two months before production. I met Emmy at another set. Emmy, the director, who also starred in it. She plays Olivia, and she said, well, I've got a project. It shoots in Ocean City, Maryland, where I'm from, and it just sounded really exciting. I read the script, and it's something that, in a way, I can identify with. It's a story that I can really identify with because I was born and raised in Mexico City, and while Mexico City is obviously not Maryland, Maryland, and it's a big city full of arts and culture, I still sort of wanted to get out. And I've also been moving around so much that I definitely know the feeling when everything feels too real and I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. So there was a personal connection to the story. Mm. But yeah, that's when I got on board.
Okay. And so for all of us ignorant people out here, please could you explain to us what a production designer does?
Yes, so a production designer is the person who, in conjunction with the director and the cinematographer, is the one who is in charge of the overall look of the film in terms of color palette and the set design. Obviously this is a very short project, so I was involved in the selection of props, and everything you see on the frame that's not actors or lighting is something that the production designer takes care of. And that's what a production designer does.
Okay. And how much influence did you have then? I mean, you're looking at the script. Mm-hmm. You're thinking one thing. Then I presume you have a dialogue with the director, who was the writer as well, yes?
Yeah.
Yes. And how does that work? So you're going, I can see this at this point. And How did that work? Was that a positive for you? Did you have lots of conflicts of interest? Could you just explain that?
Well, usually, when I read a script, I definitely something comes into mind as I'm reading it. But before doing anything, I like to talk to the director first, because sometimes they have a very specific idea of what they want, and that was the case with J-1. Emmy really knew what she wanted in terms of color. Also, the cinematographer came in way before I was part of this, so they had already had talks about the look and what sort of lighting they were going to use, and Emmy also, since she's from Ocean City, she definitely had like a very specific look, and I came in to facilitate all of that, and actually it just made it made a lot of sense, you know. Yeah, so that's
So this is really interesting. You know, most people don't really grasp what a production designer does and the integral part they play on a film. So, I mean, when you look at someone like Tarantino, and I should think the production designer would have a massive relationship in regard to the look of the film.
Oh yeah.
Because we want to convey moods of people and moods of the feeling of the scene that's going on. Is that exactly what we're talking about with your role?
Yeah. It's I definitely contribute to that. It's also, you know, the cinematographer. For instance, in the party scene in J1 on J1, obviously, like most of the I guess motivated lighting and everything, that was the cinematographer, and I came in and I said, well, what sort of look are you looking for? They were envisioning a lot of purples, so in terms of the practical lighting that was in that scene, I tried to come up with something that works with what they were working with.
Okay, and practical lighting as in the lights in shot?
The lights in shot,
yeah.
Yes. So, yes. I forgot the first part of the...
So would you be involved in the choosing of colours and styles for clothing and the props? Does that come into your territory?
It did on J1, yes. It's usually not the case, I guess, in bigger films.
So the bigger it gets, the more that one person would take control of it.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. I was not actively involved in getting costumes, but you do have to work with the costume designer. I don't think there was a costume designer in J1, but you do have to establish a channel of communication with them, because it has color, right? It affects the mood that you're going for, and I mean, there are also props that are clothing, and that there was one piece of clothing that was my job to get, and to it was my job to get it, and it was also something that I had a talk to. I had a talk with the director, but sometimes you do have to take care of the costumes when it's a very short film.
Yeah. So if it's a short, low budget, someone like yourself would have much more control over those things.
Yeah.
In relationship with the director.
Yeah. Everything in relationship with the director.
Absolutely,
yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I would think actually that on many low budget films we wouldn't even have a production designer.
Yeah.
It would be kind of the director / producer taking control of that. So that's quite a luxury on this.
Yeah,
for J1.
I think that's why I came in later. Sometimes, especially with the short productions, they think that they might not need a production designer, and then they realize that they do. I think that may have happened.
So, in regard to the film, it's been shown here. Thank you so much for submitting the film.
Oh, of course.
Has it been shown anywhere else? How has it been received?
Yes. So there was the first film festival it showed at was the Ocean City Film Festival.
Yes.
And it won the audience award, I think. Or no, it won the From Here award. They have a couple of filmmakers in Ocean City, and that was the one who won that award, the one that won that award. And I think this is the second film festival it gets in, and there's another one. I don't know if they have screened yet or not, because everything's very up in the air with the pandemic. There's a festival in New York that it got into.
Great.
And
And are you or the director working together in the future? Is that anything coming along?
Well, it's since I moved here, I think that's a bit more complicated, because she's based in New York.
I see.
We were going to work on a music video, but then I had to move out of New York, and it was. But I would love to work with Emmy again. We're still friends, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We really appreciate you submitting the film, and thank you so much for doing this interview.
Oh no, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Great.